Welcome again. There we go. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another edition of Coffee and Sports in the Morning. I'm your host, Mr. William B. Morgan, sitting in for my man Chris. It's been a challenging time, but Will won. Hurricane Zero. I am here, doing well, and I got my partner in crime, Mo. Mo, how you doing?
I'm doing well on a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Bear with us, everybody. Every now and then, live TV, you can deal with live problems. So we appreciate your patience. Will can relate. We can totally understand. We appreciate you. Appreciate everybody at Northeast Streaming. Thank you so much. Let's get into it.
Yes, yes, yes. And the first thing I wanted to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I think they
Oh yeah.
cooked. I think they are really, really cooked. What do you think about that outburst that Jerry Jones gave everybody?
Yeah. So to me, that is an exact result from frustration, right? Coming from
Hmm.
what he's seeing on the field. I believe Jerry Jones, because he's been doing this for as long as he has, there's pressure on him that he won't ever say it publicly, but I think he's feeling pressure, Will, because he's running out of time. I think his staff, their scouting team, I think they really believe they put together a title contending team. They see things that you and I don't see. They actually think maybe before the season started, we might have a pretty good run game. Our defense might be stout. It's filled with named players. We're going to be the best team or one of the best teams in the NFC. I think he saw all that. He felt comfortable enough, Will, come into the season, even though it was kind of last minute. He paid Dak Prescott, paid
Hmm.
CD Lamb. They got their money. And then you look at this flawed team. I looked at it before the season started and I thought, I just put it out there. I said, Cowboys aren't going to make playoffs.
Nope.
This is not me coming for Cowboy Nation or trying to make Cowboy Nation depressed. I don't think when you look at them, Will, on both sides of the football, that this I don't even think this is a playoff team. I think this is a
You might be. I think I lost you for a second, Mo. Mo, you there? To piggyback off what Mo was saying, I don't think it's a playoff team either. Um, they can't run the football. You're one dimensional, and by you being a one dimensional team, that whatever defense you're playing, this gets to pin their ears back, and whatever coverage they want to run. They want to run a zone. They want to run a man. Um, they can do that, and yeah, and when you can't stop the run on the other end, that's a huge problem when you can't stop the run on the other end. And you off this week, the bye week can probably run 450 on them. But when you go back, you got right after the bye week, you playing the 49ers. And you know they can run the football down. You know they can run the football down your throat. You got your receivers back. McCaffrey may be back in a couple of weeks. Jordan Mason's a good running back. So it doesn't get any better. And and I agree with Shannon Sharp when Shannon said you threatened that man's job by asking that simple question. Nah, nah, nah. I'm out on Jerry Jones. I'm out. I was already out on Cowboys. You don't want to make Cowboy Nation mad. I don't care. I'll make them mad. They are some of the most obnoxious fans I've ever seen in my life. In my life. Watch and see. We're going to beat the 49ers and we're going to get everything right and we going to the Super Bowl. No, you're not.
Let me ask you this: if this season goes as the way I see it going, if they come up short, if they don't make the playoffs, is this a direct line to Jerry Jones doing what he normally does, having his fall guy ready? And I think Mike McCarthy was kind of a lame coach duck anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have been lame duck if they won 11 games and they got knocked out in round one of the playoffs. But if they don't make the playoffs, you think Mike McCarthy's out?
He should be. He should be gone. He should be gone. He should be gone. Just like Dennis Allen from my Saints, he should be gone. He should be
And
gone.
if he's gone, first name on any list that you have for a potential Dallas Cowboy head coach.
It
Because
won't.
I already have somebody in mind, but we'll see if we're on the same page.
It won't happen because I don't think Jerry Jones would want to deal with this person to give up control. But that offense, the offense the running game needs to be rebuilt. That offensive line needs a little bit of work to it. I'll go with Belichick. That's just me.
Belichick is interesting. Belichick is interesting. It's interesting, right? Because you said Belichick, which obviously a huge personality, someone who's used to having control and power, as you pointed out. I was thinking about a personality even bigger. Maybe not needing necessarily all that control, but I'm sure he wants some kind of carte blanche over what he does. What about Deion Sanders?
I love that.
And I'm only saying that, Will, for these reasons. Think about the situation in Colorado now. When Shedeur and Travis Hunter leave, you think Deion staying? You think Deion staying there for the rebuild? Because it's almost like a rebuild. They have two really special talents. A few other guys that are solid players, but overall the team isn't that talented top to bottom.
No.
You think Deion staying, knowing that the future is anything but certified and sure? My gut instinct is when his son and Hunter leave, there's a good chance Deion's leaving.
My only call for Pauls is the fact that he said he doesn't know if he can handle coaching grown men at that level. That would be my only call for Paul. And I see where he's coming from because it's different between coaching kids and coaching grown men with mortgages and things like that. It's a different story when you're trying to instill something in a kid and you're trying to instill something in a grown man. We saw that last week with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Bo Nix said, I ain't putting up with it. Russell put up with it. Bo Nix said, no, you're not going to treat me like that. That's a grown man. That would be my only call for pause for Deion. How would he handle that if you get any butt back from one of his grown man players?
And that's a fair question. But I'm trying to think bigger picture. So yeah, that's a fair question. But would you rather take on the challenge of coaching grown men or come back to Colorado and only win 2 games over the next couple?
I'm starting to think.
Do you know what I mean? Because Deion walked in there with the big stick, right? We're going to win. He walked in there. And look, I love the bravado and all that, but then you got to back it up. And I said you got to do it in steps, right? And the first step would be to make a bowl. They don't even have to be one of the biggest bowls, but make a bowl game.
Yep.
They haven't done that yet. Well, I can tell you right now, when Shedeur and Travis Hunter leave, they're not making a bowl game.
It's going to be tough without them.
They're not even going to be a 500 team.
Not in that conference they won't.
Right. You think he's hanging around for the media to bring receipts to him weekly? Like, Coach, I can't help but notice you talked about the winning you were going to bring here and stuff like that. Right. And you're 0-5 in your conference. So what about that win? Like, you think Deion's going to sit there for that? My gut instinct is, like I said, I don't know how he's going to do it. Ben, he's going to put on it. I think he bounces.
Yeah.
And I think he would rather take a shot in the NFL than keep getting destroyed on a weekly basis in college football.
I don't think they were ready for the type of culture Deion was going to bring anyway. I mean, if you look at how other coaches in the conference treat him, I don't think they were ready for that type of culture that Deion was going to bring. So yeah, you do have a point there. He may bail and try to take that challenge of coaching grown men. He may. That will be great, but then I look at my Florida State Seminoles and you didn't want to hire him, and that would have been a better story than Mike Novell, but that's for a different show. I'm gonna call for pause on that. But know how the season is going for us. But yeah, I like that pick because it would be a good story. It would be a great story, fantastic story.
And it would supply people like us with endless material, right?
Yep.
Like the Deion Jerry Jones dynamic would be insane. Let's start there. That's going to be insane because there's going to be a honeymoon period, and then at some point there will, with egos like that, if everything's not perfect,
It's gonna
if
crash.
yeah, right, there's going to be a divorce
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I guess what I'm saying is, look, I digress. Let's get back. The bottom line is, look at this Cowboys team. Cannot run the football, and I
Can't
know
stop the
they
run.
don't. Right, they don't have a great running backs room, but I'm not putting it all on their running backs. These running backs, they're being contacted in the backfield consistently. So the
True.
offensive line, not a good
It needs
offensive
to
line.
work. It needs to
Right.
work.
So they can't run the football. They can't stop the run.
Mm-mm.
Dak is running for his life. Their offense is Dak and CeeDee Lamb or bust. That's it. CeeDee
Yep.
Lamb's going to get 15 targets a game, and if he can't make a play, their offense stops. It comes
Yep.
to a stop. I don't think that style of offense, which isn't a great style of offense, relying on one man and being so one dimensional, you're not going to win that. You could probably win that way if you have a dominant defense, Will, right? If you were shutting people down saying like, look, we're going to put up 17 points and you guys
Yep.
are going to get 13 or 10. Well, they don't have a dominating defense.
Nope.
They got a subpar defense, and it used to be you could rely on the secondary, but they're getting eaten alive too because you can't stop the run.
Nope.
This is not a playoff. This is not a playoff team. It's not
Nope.
a playoff team, and Jerry Jones is feeling the frustration. The man basically threatened a member of the media, right?
Yep.
Basically threatened him.
Mm-hmm.
And he can try to spin it how he wants to today, and I'm sure they will. But you and your coaching staff, everybody that's up in the front office, they failed. Jerry, they failed. A team that is struggling, that knows everything is about winning now, the New York Jets, they just went out and made a move that the Dallas Cowboys, those are the kind of moves they should be trying to make, and they
But
didn't.
hold on.
And
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because here's the thing that kills me. You had a chance to go get Derrick Henry, but you said you couldn't afford him. Okay. You see what he's doing now, don't you? I think he leads the lead in rushing 708. I'm not sure. I think he leads the league. Or he's one of the league leaders.
no, he's leading the league in rushing.
Yeah.
And look, I will be the first to admit I did not know how that would work, especially running him in the sets they were running him out of. I thought, I don't think he's an RPO back, right? Because he's a north and south back.
He
And right. But to their credit, they did put in some plays. They put in some sets for formations that play to his strength. He is a north and south runner. He's very unique, right? Derrick Henry is very unique in that you think of him when you see him as this big, powerful back who's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That's not who he is. What he really is he's like a home run hitter back. He's like a breakaway back, except he's a 245-pound breakaway back that once he gets to the second level, your secondaries, they don't want none of that. They don't want any part of that. He's very unique that way. And somebody put a question to me, Will, here yesterday. Think about this. Chris put it out there. He said Derrick Henry is the last of a dying breed. Like in the current NFL, other than Derrick Henry, what running back in the current NFL do you see is going to have a career where they even run for 10,000 or 11,000 yards?
But the way offenses are now and running back by committees, nobody.
Right. That's the crazy
Nobody.
part. The first two names that came to mind for me were C-Mac and Alvin Kamara. And both of them, I think they're 27 to 28 years old. And they both have around 6,000 yards rushing. They might crack 10,000, but a lot of things would have to go right. But beyond those two names, the day of the dominant running back, Will, where a guy is a 1,200, 1,300 yard back for 10 years,
gone.
10 years, that's over. That is over. Derrick Henry will be the cutoff because where the NFL is, how running backs are used, like you said, yeah, you're correct. There are no other backs in the NFL right now. I mean, C-Mac is used a lot, but in different ways. Same with Kamara. But but I don't see either one of them rushing for 11,000 yards. Tracking that barrel.
I don't either.
One,
I don't
because
either.
they're already close to 30, and two, they're both injury prone.
Yep. Hopefully we get C-Mac back in a couple of weeks. Jordan Mason looks to be, he was banged up with an AC joint sprain, I think, in his shoulder. So hopefully those guys come back soon. All right. Did want to talk a little bit real quick about the WNBA championship, tied at 1-1 going into game 3 tonight at 8 p.m. The New York Liberty versus the Minnesota Lynx. Did you see the Lynx getting here?
I did. And I remember talking to the NFL genius, Gene Wolzak, and I was telling him, like, I think the Lynx have a shot I really did. I thought coming into the playoffs, they're not the favorites.
No.
But what they had is they have an incredibly great offensive player, Napheesa Collier.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a bunch of dogs around her that get after you defensively.
Courtney Williams playing well
on the board. Yes, she stepped up. And we talk about this a lot in sports, right? Sometimes out of nowhere, there's a team that wasn't particularly impressive in the regular season, but then they become like a team of destiny, right? Everything just goes right. And I'm looking at the Lynx, and that's what they've done. And the series is tied 1-1, but I feel like even though I know the Liberty are the more talented team, right? I know this, and they're expected to win. I think that the Lynx they're playing with house money, Will, right? Like they have all the confidence in the world. They have no pressure on them.
Nothing to lose.
All the pressure's on New York.
Yep.
So I think if New York is going to win this championship, they have to go out early, snatch it, build up a lead, and dominate from the jump. If it's a close game that goes back and forth, the more time that wanes and it's a close game, I think that favors the Lynx.
Yes. And again, they're playing well. House money, like you said before, no pressure at all. All the pressure's on the Liberty and the Breanna Stewart. We'll see how that thing goes. I'm looking forward to seeing this. What is best of 5, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
They can hopefully we get 5 good games. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I don't know if you saw the first one. The first one might be one of the greatest games.
I did see it. Yeah.
Right. In WNBA history in the post. It is the back and forth, Will. The back and forth was so insane. And then that ending, like, if that doesn't almost break your soul when you lose a game like that, like you said, give Liberty all the credit in the world, bouncing back from a loss like that, and responding and finding a way to win game 2. That's what champions are made of. But yeah, I think I'm hoping we get more of the same when you combine games 1 and game 2, that we get more.
And a series like this can really help even more with the popularity of the WNBA. And
agreed.
And it really help bring even more fans over. And as we get into past this season, the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reese's, hopefully we get Juju back in. Hopefully we get Juju in this thing soon.
She's gonna be special.
The WNBA can be the sky's the limit for it if it continues to market properly.
And that's the key, right? Marketing and maxing out not just your current established stars, but your young up and coming stars. I don't think they ever did really a good job of marketing their younger stars, but they're doing that now. And I don't want to get into a long discussion about Caitlin Clark, but I do think she was the instigator behind that.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
She brought to the WNBA this massive following from college basketball. Like think about this. Most players, there's a loyalty there, right? If you're a UConn player, they love you. Then you go into the WNBA, but they didn't take this following with them.
Right.
Caitlin Clark took a following that she established in Iowa, and they followed her into the WNBA. And then she grew her fan base with the Fever. And I think that's kind of spread out the wealth to a degree. If you're talking about in terms of marketing and attention, she initiated that. But there is no shortage of great players in the WNBA. And like you brought up, Juju's coming soon. Inesco's here. Stewie's here. Asia
Yep.
Wilson, the MVP, Nafisa Collier. There are no shortage of talented, great players. They have to take advantage, Will, of right now this marketing, this moment where you can bolster up the league and take it to another level. It's right now. And if this series continues the way it is right now and entertains, I think that's going to be even better for it. Bodes well overall for the league because it shows you that they don't just have names, they put a great product on the floor.
Oh, yes. All right. I do want to go over to the NBA for just a quick second. Me and you didn't get a chance to talk. Your boy Julius Randle got moved.
This is true. Now I'm not a Knicks fan, but as an NBA fan, I thought the Towns trade, the Randall Towns trade was perfect. Perfect for the Knicks. I think Cat is what they need in terms of he can play in the post, but he has the ability because he's such a great shooter. He can space your floor, which it gives Brunson, it gives Bridges and everybody else more opportunities. I think that makes them a tougher cover. So yeah, I love the move. I think that makes the Knicks more diverse. And look at what they have around him. There's Bridges, there's OG, two elite wing defenders. And then you've got Brunson running the show. And of course, obviously, you got Josh Hart. I just think that I look at their core and yeah, look, the Knicks are legitimate title contenders. My only question with the Knicks is I know what their first 5 or 6 players look like and what they can do. My concern is when you start going into player 7, 8, 9, like
where's the
depth? I don't know about their overall depth, and that could be the issue with the Knicks because a team like the Celtics, I think they're obviously the world champs are a little bit deeper. A team like the Sixers are kind of thin to me overall. I think the Sixers to me are top heavy, right? It's what you get with Embiid, with Paul George, with Maxey. I think they're top heavy. I think the Bucks are top heavy. They're older and top heavy,
especially the Bucks.
Right. They're to me. They're look. Take Giannis out of the equation. You just got an old team, an old athletic team. They have no athletes outside of Giannis. So I think they have their problems. Can they make some noise? I think this season for the Bucks, isn't it make or break between the Dame Giannis combo? They either end up in the finals. I really believe this. They end up in the finals, or you start thinking about moving on for Dame. Like that move was supposed to have an instant impact, right? And so far, you could say that move has pretty much had the same impact that Aaron Rodgers has had with the Jets, right?
If anything, it also exposed Damian Lillard for what he's not in that move, because now the microscope is more on him because now you see, if you thought he was suspect on defense before with the Trailblazers, you really see it now. You really see that spotlight on him as far as his defensive play. So it kind of put the spotlight on him in a negative way a little bit. My Bulls, we're supposed to be getting Lonzo Ball back. Do you think that could make a difference with that sorry starting 5 that got put out the other day? I'm like, really? You got okay. Josh Giddey's your starting point guard.
Right.
Because I know Kobe hurt, and I know Lonzo is trying to make his return. Josh Giddey's your starting point guard. Really? Bro.
Well, let me put it this way. I thought it was interesting because your GM came out and said, no, we're not trying to tank. We're going to try to win every game. I can't speak for you, a Bulls fan.
I saw that and laughed.
But I'm speaking as an NBA fan. I 100% believe him that they're not trying to tank because I don't think they have to tank. I think they can play with their whole hearts, give you 100% effort, and they're not going to be very good. They're not. You have to have talent in the NBA to win. Look at that roster top to bottom. They don't have to like, man, well, let's fake it so we can lose. You don't have to fake it. You can go all in. You're gonna lose anyway.
And people call I lost Mo for a second. There we go. We got Mo back. people call me a hater because but I'm not being a hater. I'm being realistic. Look, I'm not crazy about Patrick Williams. I wasn't crazy when he got drafted. And then he came last season. I want this amount of money. What? No. I wasn't crazy about Patrick Williams. I know Kobe White's trying to get over Andrew. Lonzo's trying to get that. What you have right now is not enough. You can play, like you said, you can play 100% and still get blown out by 25.
Right.
Who's better? Who? I got a buddy of mine on a player versus team. My boy Mule is definitely checking us out. Player versus team. He says that starting five is pretty good, and I'm looking at, bro. Are we looking at the same team?
That's what
are we looking at the same team?
That's a true fan, man. That's an optimist. That's a true fan. That's the guy that goes, if everything falls right, we can get into the conference finals. Everything falls like he what's that line, Will? So you're telling me there's a chance. He's that guy. Look, what I would say with the Lonzo situation as a fan, I've been a fan of his going back to his college days. And I love the way that he was developing. When he went to Chicago, I thought he had turned himself into one of the best 3-and-D guys in the NBA. With elite defender, his shooting percentage from three. He worked on that shot. Will he put in the work? He was shooting over 40% from three. If he can reestablish himself as that guy again, and I hope he does, I'm 100% rooting for him. If he can establish himself as that guy, Josh Giddey is a very good player. He's not a star, but he's a very good complementary player. Kobe White can give you 25 or 30 on a given night. He's that kind of scorer. So I think there on the perimeter, you have three guys that can impact the game, if I'm being honest. But my concern is I don't think they have a lot of depth. Nope. I feel like Vucevic, he didn't even want to be there, right? Vucevic is right. You've got Vucevic and LaVine suiting up, and neither one of them want to even be there. Like they're like the two most miserable men in the NBA. They don't want to be there because they know it's a young team that's closer to rebuilding than they are contending for a title. And look, if I'm the Bulls, I would oblige them. And we both know, Will, like right now, you're trying to move LaVine, and there ain't no takers. There's no takers. I think eventually he will get moved, but I'd move off of Vooch. Vooch is, I think he's in his early 30s anyway. He probably can help a contender out. I'm in a different role. If you're Chicago, you don't have to tank, but I think you do want to go into the lottery and try to have one of those top 5 picks, because I think if you can get an impact player in the draft to go with Kobe White, to go with a healthy Lonzo Ball and Josh Giddey, that gives you a core. That gives you a core that can compete.
Something you can build off of.
Right, there you go. Something that you can build off from, and that would give you more answers than questions. So yeah, I'm not there with your friend that they're going to be in the playoffs, but I'm optimistic because I'm rooting very hard for Lonzo. I love what Kobe White has done. I hope he can sustain that. I'm not crazy about Giddey in terms of him being a star, but if you tell me he can help you win games, if you tell me he's a good complimentary, I 100% buy into that. You got me. Yeah. The guy that has the biggest question mark for me on the Bulls, and I think you can appreciate this, is Patrick Williams. I don't know what he is.
I've never been a fan of Pat. I've never been a fan. I've never been a fan because I'm not questioning the effort. I'm not questioning the heart. I'm questioning the skill set. I don't know what he is. I don't know if you're a 3, if you're a 4. I don't know what you are. What do you do? What do you do well that can help the Bulls get the Bulls over the top? I don't know what that is.
That's the thing. Like I watched so many Bulls games. You can see Patrick Williams. It's not about effort. I just don't know how talented he is. Right. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem skilled enough to play the 3. But he's not big enough or physical enough to play the 4. He's a tweener. And I don't know what you do with a tweener in today's NBA. Like, you could be a tweener in today's NBA if you can shoot the 3 at a high level. And he doesn't shoot the 3 at a high level. So I just think Paxson and company, they've got their work cut out for them. But mission one, if Lonzo can return and play at a high level, That would be so great. He's only 27, so he
Mhm.
still would have a lot of basketball ahead of him. I like some of the pieces they have. I just think they're still more in a rebuild mode than they are like we're built to win now. They're not built to win now.
Talk to me about Wemby. What's some of your second year expectations from Wemby?
So Brett and I, when we do the N1 podcast, and even myself when I'm on TikTok and stuff like that, I'm always putting out projections like you do. Who are your top candidates for MVP, DPOY, most improved, and all those
Mhm.
things? And the interesting thing is, Wemby's in all those things. He's in all
Yep.
those things. Like I think Wemby's going to be an MVP candidate. I think Wemby's going to be a DPOY candidate. I think Wemby's going to be a most improved. He could actually do a full sweep of all those categories. I think Chris Paul is going to make him even better than he already is on both sides of the floor. And I know Chris Paul isn't at an all-star level anymore, but now you're talking about a veteran point guard who knows the game on both ends, who knows how to be a professional. He's going to put Wemby in his spots. He's going to get him more lob opportunities. I just think when you look at a guy like Wemby, I'm not going to label him a center, Will. I'm just going to label him a big. He's a big. He's
Yes.
not a center
Yes.
because I think he can spend as much time on the outside as he does the inside because he's that talented a player. Will, if the Spurs win, let's say 30, 35 games, he will be a legitimate MVP candidate. If
think he
they
would
go
too.
beyond, if they go beyond that and find
Oh, yeah.
themselves competing for a play-in spot, he might win the MVP
He
outright.
might. He might. He's that talented.
Right. And so he's so unique, Will, because somebody asked me, is there a comp for him? And I said the closest comp would be somebody from back in the day, and you can appreciate this, but this guy wasn't as talented as Wemby, and I'm talking about Ralph Sampson.
Yes. Yes.
Ralph Sampson is the close because Ralph was more of a finesse player. He had a jump shot. He could run the floor. Very similar in that way, and defensively what he could do, but he didn't have Wemby's skill. Wemby can handle the ball like a guard.
He can bring the ball up.
I seen him do an in and out dribble and break somebody's ankle and attack the rim. Ralph didn't have that in his bag. Victor Wembanyama, if he can stay healthy, is one of one. I'm not going to go crazy and say, well, Mo, you automatically have him as one of the 10 best players in the league. I'm projecting that when we're into this season, when it's all said and done, he absolutely will be one of the 10 best. And if he has the season that I think he'll have, Will, he's going to be inside that top five. Right. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. It might prove me wrong, but if it proves me wrong, you're just delaying the inevitable. If he's not top five by the end of this year, he'll be top five by the end of next year. He's that gifted a player.
I agree. And to finish up this show, there was one trade we touched on Davante Adams a little bit earlier. I want to hit on the other trade that happened real quick before we get on out of here. Amari Cooper to the Bills. How does that affect the Buffalo Bills offense? The defense has been okay, but what does that do to help Josh Allen and that offense?
It gives you a guy that can help move the chains. Amari Cooper has been a very good wide receiver for years. Never the best, but very good, very productive. Good route runner. I think what he does is he also gives you somebody that when you look at that receiving core, he's not a speedster, but he can beat one-on-one coverages.
Yes.
It gives Josh Allen a guy who can win some one-on-ones, and they desperately needed that. If he can win some one-on-ones, it opens things up for the other receivers. So I think the Dolphins looked at what the Jets did and said, we got to do something. We got to do something, right? I'm sorry, the Bills looked at what they did and said they had to do something because they realized Davante Adams to the Jets. Look, it is huge. We know what he did when him and Aaron Rodgers were teammates with the Packers. Even now, Davante Adams is one of the best route runners in all of football. He can high point. There's not a thing in terms of what a receiver can or can't do that even this version of Davante Adams can't do. The question I have for Jets fan is, I get it. You're excited today. You get Davante Adams. But doesn't that up the ante when it comes to the pressure?
Expectations now, baby. Right. If you didn't have expectations before, you got them now.
Doesn't that up the ante? And not to mention, Davante Adams don't play left tackle. He don't play left tackle.
Nope. Nope.
So you can have Devontae Adams out there, but if Aaron Rodgers is on his back while Devontae Adams running his route, I'm just making a point. Like, your offensive line has got some flaws.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been exposed. Like, the Bills don't have one of the best pass rushing units in the league, but it looked like it the other night when they played. They were getting after Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's a great impact. The move could be a great impactful move. The question is, though, is it the impactful move that's going to turn the season around, or is it one of those moves where it's hyped but never lives up to the hype?
Never live up to the expectation of the move itself. I got
Right,
you.
like obviously, you and I both know Amari Cooper is nowhere near as good as Devontae Adams.
No.
But the Amari Cooper move might end up being more impactful, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. Plus, it helps Shakir. It helps Kincaid. It helps James Cook. It helps everybody.
Right. I'm just saying, I get it. Be happy today, Jets fans, because you're getting ready to go into the meat of your schedule, so it'll be interesting.
Them expectations, boy, them expectations can be a pressure cooker.
Yes,
so,
sir.
You guys got to get ready. All right, Mo, go ahead and take us out, my friend.
Thank you guys so much for being patient. Thank you so much for joining Will and I on a wonderful Wednesday. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Sports, Wire to Wire Network. We appreciate you.
And that is going to do it this morning for the morning show. Chris will be back with us tomorrow. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody.